For a long time, I didn't trust myself. Not with big decisions, not with small ones. I'd make a choice and immediately wonder if it was wrong. Today I want to talk about how that changed. Not because I woke up one day and decided to trust myself, because I slowly rebuilt something I didn't even know I'd lost. Before I tell you what changed, I want to talk about what self-doubt actually is, because I think most people misunderstand it. Self-doubt isn't weakness, it's not a character flaw. It isn't evidence that you're not capable, or not ready, or not enough. Self-doubt is what happens when the relationship with you and yourself breaks down. Think about it this way: trust in any relationship is built through consistency, through doing what you say you'll do, through showing up when it's hard, through being honest even when it's uncomfortable. The relationship you have with yourself works exactly the same way. Every time you made a promise to yourself and broke it, trust weakened. Every time you talked yourself out of something you knew was right, trust weakened. Slowly, quietly, until one day you stopped believing in your own judgment entirely. That's what self-doubt actually is. It's not a personality trait. It's a broken relationship with yourself. But it can be repaired. For me, the loss of self-trust happened gradually, over years, through a combination of things. I spent a long time prioritizing other people's opinions over my own instincts. If someone I respected disagreed with the choice I'd made, I'd immediately assume they were right and I was wrong. I relied on other people's opinions so much that I stopped listening to my own. I also broke promises to myself constantly. I'd decide to change something, a habit, a pattern, a situation, and then not follow through. And every time I didn't follow through, I sent myself a message. The message was, you can't be trusted. You say things and don't mean them. Your word means nothing, even to yourself. And I made decisions from fear so often that I stopped being able to tell the difference between a true instinct and an anxious reaction. Fear and intuition feel similar from the inside. And when you've been operating from fear long enough, you lose the ability to hear the quieter voice underneath it. So, how did I actually rebuild it? Here's what worked. The first thing was keeping small promises to myself. Not big ones, small ones. I'll drink water before coffee today. I'll go to bed at this time. I'll do this one thing I said I'd do. And then actually doing it. Every kept promise, no matter how small, sent a new message. The message was, I can be trusted. I do what I say. My word means something. The second thing was practicing making decisions without consulting everyone. I'd have an instinct, and instead of immediately asking other people what they thought, I'd sit with it. I'd ask myself, what do I actually think? And I'd act on that. Sometimes I was wrong, and that was okay. Because even being wrong taught me something about my own judgment. And I started trusting it more because I was actually using it. The third thing was learning to tell the difference between fear and intuition. This takes time. But the key difference is this: fear is loud, urgent, and focused on worst-case scenarios. Intuition is quiet, steady, and focused on what's true. Fear says something bad will happen. Intuition says something doesn't feel right. They feel similar, but they're completely different. And the more you practice listening to the quiet voice, the easier it gets to hear it. The fourth thing was forgiving myself the times I'd gotten it wrong, because part of what kept me in self-doubt was shame. Shame about the decisions I'd made that hadn't worked out. Carrying that shame made it impossible to trust myself going forward, because every new decision was weighted down by the evidence of every past mistake. Forgiving those mistakes cleared the way for something new. I want to be honest about what self-trust actually feels like. It doesn't feel like certainty. I still have moments of doubt, still have decisions that feel hard, still have days where I question myself more than I'd like. But the difference is, the doubt doesn't run the show anymore. I can feel uncertain and still move. I can question myself and still choose. I can be afraid and still trust that whatever happens, I'll handle it. Self-trust isn't the absence of doubt. It's the knowledge that you can doubt and still be okay. That you can be wrong and still be okay. That you can make a mistake and still be someone worth trusting. If you're in a place right now where you don't trust yourself, where every decision feels impossible and every instinct feels unreliable, I want you to know something. You haven't lost your judgment. You've just stopped listening to it. And the way back is simpler than you think. Make one promise to yourself today, something small, something you can actually keep, and then keep it. That's the first brick. Everything else gets built on top of that. Self-trust is the foundation of everything. Every decision, every relationship, every goal, every version of yourself you're trying to become. Without it, everything feels harder than it needs to be. With it, everything becomes possible. I didn't rebuild mine overnight, and you won't either, but you can start today. With one small kept promise, and then another, and then another. If this resonated, save it and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments, when did you stop trusting yourself and what happened? Subscribe for more honest videos about growth and self-trust. And if you want to go deeper, I have videos on self-sabotage, anxiety, and breaking patterns right here on the channel. I'll see you there.